From this session onwards, we'll be discussing about integration of metabolism at organ or tissue level. First, we'll take up the post-absorptive state, then early fasting state, and then we'll talk about the fasting state. Okay, so in this one, the first one is post-absorptive state. Okay, so the objectives we have set in this session are, so there are some of the objectives we have set. At the end of the session, the learner shall be able to describe general aspects of the integration at tissue or organ level and star feed cycle. In the star feed cycle, we'll take up what are the various different metabolic pathways we come across most of the time. The second one which we come across, we'll study is the metabolic roles of the intestine, liver, muscle, pancreas, brain, adipose tissue, RBC, in well-fed state, how the interrelationship is taking place. So as I said, we come across many metabolic processes. What are those metabolic processes we come across? We come across most of the time glycogenolysis is the breakdown of glycogen and synthesis of glycogen. So we call it glycogenesis. So that is related to carbohydrate metabolism. Then also breakdown of glucose, that we study glycolysis, and the end product of the glycolysis, the pyruvate, how the pyruvate is broken down, that also will come across. Then next is the lipids. In the lipids, we talk about fatty acids, both oxidation and also the synthesis. The fatty acid synthesis and oxidation will come across. Then other than the fatty acids, we have lipogenesis, triacylglycerol. Okay, then lipolysis, that is breakdown of lipids. Okay, then so we also come across ketogenesis, the ketogenesis and ketolysis, the breakdown of ketone bodies. Okay, then we also come across the proteins. So we study synthesis, and so also the lysis, and in the lysis, then urea synthesis. The question which comes to our mind is, all these pathways are taking place all the time in all the cells in the same time? No, they are not taking place all the time in all the cells at the same time. At the different times, at the different situations, the different pathways, they are operational. So let us see, given the nutritional state, which pathway is acting. Let us see, so there are two aspects. One is given the nutritional state and also, okay, hormonal conditions, hormonal state. The nutritional state and hormonal state, so we can say which metabolic pathway is functioning. That we can easily say. Okay, also, so how these metabolic pathways are interrelated, that we can simply say depending upon the nutritional hormonal state existing in a tissue or the organ, we can say which metabolic pathway is functioning and various metabolic pathways, how they are interrelated. To have a better understanding how this interconnection is taking place, let us study the star feed cycle. Feed cycle. The star feed cycle. Okay, so when it is taking place, the star feed cycle, there are two completely different situations. So what happens? The first one is feed cycle. So that is after, okay, an meal, and suppose let us see an evening meal. evening, so meal. Then, so, and throughout the night, throughout, okay, so 12 hours period, 12 hours, okay, overnight. The star feed cycle, which is after the meals, so this cycle is operational throughout the night. Okay, let us see. So let us see what are the various stages. The first one is well-fed state. That is, we say well-fed state. The well-fed state, we can also say postprandial state. The second one is early fasting. That is early fasting phase. Okay, so during the initial state of the post-absorptive state. The next one is, the third one is refeed state, that is breakfast. Okay, that is we say is refeed state. So that is morning breakfast. After that one, if we don't take the meal after one meal, okay, so then we can say, so that is prolonged state, that prolonged, okay, state of fast, state of the fast, which lasts longer. It is much more, 24 hours, more than the 24 hours. Okay, then extend into several days, several days or weeks, depending upon how long the person stays not taking meals, food. Okay. So the next one is, what is the purpose of many biochemical changes in these phases? Why? When we say the post-absorptive state, some changes are taking place, early fast, different changes are taking place. In the fast is extended, then also different changes are taking place. Why for all these one? To maintain blood sugar, blood glucose, to maintain, so blood glucose, so these changes are must. Okay, blood glucose levels, because without blood glucose, without a minimal supply of glucose, some of the tissues like brain and RBC cannot function. So that is very important aspect. In this one, when I already talked about, that is nutritional state and hormonal state. So there is a role of insulin and also other hormones like glucagon and insulin. Insulin in the post-absorptive state, glucagon and other hormones in the fasting state. They play a very significant role in different conditions. Okay, these hormones, they play very significant role. They give the direction how the particular nutrient shall be utilized in different conditions. When you talk about the insulin, the importance of insulin, when you say in the fed state, the insulin signals, when you talk about the insulin signals, so mainly high blood glucose status, when glucose levels are very, very high blood glucose status. When glucose levels are increased, insulin is secreted. Okay, so where does the insulin has got the influence? See, it is in the muscles. Okay, it has got the role in adipose tissue. And it has also got the role in the liver. Okay, so these roles, it has got the very important role. So liver, adipose tissue and muscles. So let us see the culmination of all these things. So then what happens here in this aspect? So there is a increase in glycogen And also there is a triacylglycerol for storage. They are the storage components. They are the storage components. So why? How it is taking place? To take up blood glucose. Taking up the blood glucose from the nutrients from the diet, and that is converted to the glycogen. Okay, and later glycolysis, later converted to the triacylglycerol, fatty acids and triacylglycerol. So when is the role of glucagon? When is the role of glucagon? Glucagon is, so it signals when blood glucose is low. Blood glucose is low. So that means, so glucagon, when the levels are increased, it indicates the blood glucose levels are low. Then the signal goes, so tissues has to respond. Tissues respond. How they respond? Tissues, how they respond? So glycogen is so converted to the glucose. So there is a glycogenolysis. Okay, then there is synthesis of glucose. What is that process? Gluconeogenesis. What is gluconeogenesis? The gluconeogenesis is synthesis of glucose from the non-carbohydrate sources. Increased gluconeogenesis. And the third one is increased oxidation of fatty acid. Increased oxidation of fatty acid. Okay. Then, so once there is increased oxidation of fatty acids, fat, then there is a decreased need for glucose. There is decreased need for glucose. So because other purposes for energy, so the fatty acids will be useful. Only glucose where it is absolutely necessary, like brain and RBC, the glucose will be spared. This is about the post-absorptive state. So what are the things which are taking place in the fasting state and post-absorptive state? Let us further focus on it, metabolic changes in well-fed state. Let us study metabolic changes in well-fed state, how different organs they participate. Let us see here. It is liver. Okay. Then, liver is the first site to use dietary glucose. That means from the intestine, this is gut, intestine. From the intestine, so glucose enters liver. Here, the glucose enters liver. Also, of course, so there is entry of amino acids into liver. This is amino acids. Then, liver is the first site to use the dietary glucose. Use means not for its own purpose, either converting into storage form or supplying to other organs. Glucose is converted to glycose. Glucose is converted to glycose. Here it is pancreas. So on the metabolic changes, the role of various hormones, so okay, including insulin, so we cannot forget. So in the fed state, the role of insulin is very, very important. Insulin enters. Okay. The insulin has got a very crucial role. The insulin has got very much crucial role. It stimulates the glycogen synthesis and decreased glycogenolysis and increased glycolysis. So through the increased glycolysis, so formation of pyruvate. It is formation of pyruvate. That is the other function, pyruvate. So pyruvate formation is taking place. So insulin also increases the protein synthesis in liver. Also by glycolysis, through the pyruvate, acetyl CoA, the acetyl coenzyme A to the fat. So like we can say triacylglycerol. Okay, that is the another function. Okay, then so glucose to glycogen. Okay, glycogen synthesis is increased, glycogenolysis is decreased in the fed state. Protein synthesis is also increased, like from the amino acids. So there is protein synthesis.
Okay, protein synthesis. Okay, so what happens here? So apart from these pathways, also in the liver there is HMP shunt pathway. In HMP shunt pathway, there is release of pentose sugar, that is ribose, and NADPH. NADPH is used for the synthetic purposes. When you are talking about the glucose, entry of glucose from the intestine, suppose when you see from the intestine, when an entry of the glucose is taking place from the intestine, so majority of the glucose enters the liver. Suppose, so this is a portion of the glucose. This is a portion of the glucose. This portion of the glucose is entering the liver. Okay, so this portion is entering liver. From the liver, as I said, so there is stored as glycogen in the well-fed state. Whereas also from the liver, it goes to the other organs. Other organs. What are those other organs? Let us see the fate of the glucose here. When you see the fate of the glucose here, so what happens? The glucose enters the brain. The nutrient for the brain is the glucose. Glucose is entering the brain here. It is glucose is entering the brain. So from there, it is complete metabolism is taking place, and CO2 plus H2O is released. Okay. Then also glucose is entering adipose tissue. It is entering the adipose tissue. This is adipose tissue. Adipose tissue. In adipose tissue, it is converted to the fat. It is converted to the fat. Also, okay. Also, the glucose is entering the muscles. Okay, let us see. Glucose is entering muscles. It is here, the glucose. Okay, then it is muscle. Glucose is entering the muscle where it can be converted to glycogen. It can be converted to glycogen. Okay, that is the one way. Or it can be produced to the lactate. It can be produced to the lactate. Okay, then this glucose also can enter RBC. Here it is RBC. Glucose is entering the RBC. The RBC, when it is entering RBC, from there also it is producing the lactate. It is also producing the lactate. Okay. So what happens? What is the fate of the glucose? The glucose, apart from entering the liver, from other organs, including brain, testes. So okay, so they are slowly dependent on the glucose, and so from there complete oxidation taking place, and RBC, renal medulla. So okay, so convert glucose into the lactate and pyruvate. Adipose tissue, it is converting it into fat. Muscles, glucose is converted to glycogen, and through the glycolysis, okay, lactate can be released, and also TCA cycle through the glucose can be TCA cycle is completely oxidized. That is CO2 plus H2O, that also can take place. Okay, so this lactate, what is the fate of this lactate? The lactate goes back to the liver. Lactate goes back to the liver. Okay, so this lactate can be used for the resynthesis of glucose. Resynthesis of the glucose. So here liver, there are main two enzymes are there. One is glucokinase and hexokinase. The hexokinase, the Km of the hexokinase is low. That means it has got the high affinity for the glucose. That means at low concentration it can act. Whereas glucokinase has got the high Km, so the low affinity, when high concentration is there, glucokinase will be active. So that is what happens in the post-absorptive state. And in that condition, the glucose 6-phosphate, once glucose enters the liver, so glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. That means once it is converted to glucose 6-phosphate, it cannot leave the liver. Okay, so the glucokinase, it has got the high Km, where very high concentration of glucose is there, then it will be active. In that condition, glucose 6-phosphate does not have any inhibitory effect, this glucokinase. One thing you must know, that so the insulin, the glucose transporters is not the glucose transporter which is responsible for the entry of glucose into the liver are not under the control of insulin. Whereas insulin influences the entry of glucose into other tissues. Into the other tissues like muscles, adipose tissue, maybe brain and other tissues, not in the liver. Okay. So what happens in the well-fed state? Generally, we don't see the activity of gluconeogenesis. Okay. Also, we don't see the activity of the Cori cycle. Because what is Cori cycle? Cori cycle is glucose is converted to lactate in peripheral tissues. From the peripheral tissues, the lactate comes back to the liver where it is converted back to glucose. In the well-fed state, there is no requirement of gluconeogenesis. Okay, when plenty of glucose is there. Okay, then let us see what happens to the triacylglycerol. The triacylglycerol. So the triacylglycerol, it can goes to the which is synthesized in the liver, it can goes to the adipose tissue. It can goes to the adipose tissue. It also goes to the muscles. Okay, muscles. So the liver, which is in the liver, the triacylglycerol, which is synthesized, what is that, which lipoprotein form? It is in the form of VLDL, very low density lipoproteins, very low density lipoproteins. So let me see in other way. So here this one is, it is the lymphatic tissue. Okay, in the lymphatic tissue what happens here, it is in this fat as released as chylomicrons. So from the chylomicrons, from the intestine, the chylomicrons, so they also can enter. They also can enter these chylomicrons here. So they can also enter, okay, adipose tissue, also can enter muscles. Also can enter muscles. Okay, so this is the fate of the fat. This is the fate of the fat. Okay, how the fat enters the adipose tissue, either in the form of chylomicron or in the form of the VLDL. Okay, so liver fat in the form of VLDL. Okay, blood enters the blood capillaries, adipose tissue. Now that where it is stored. Okay, then in the liver also glycolysis, pyruvate and pyruvate to the acetyl coenzyme A, then also can be converted to the fat. Okay. Then, so in the fed state, hepatic lipogenesis is very high because storage has to take place. In the dietary protein, so there is from the intestine, amino acids, they can enter the liver. There are some amino acids. What are those amino acids? Amino acids like aspartic acid, glutamine, glutamic acid. Okay, these amino acids, asparagine, these amino acids, they are used for the energy purpose. They can be used for the energy purpose. And whereas most of the amount of alanine, proline, they enter the portal blood. So what happens? They are mostly involved in the protein synthesis. So normal input of amino acids under normal conditions, liver does not catabolize it. Why? Why liver does not catabolize amino acids when they are present in normal concentration? Because the Km, the enzymes that are acting on these amino acids, the Km is high. So that those enzymes cannot deal with at low concentrated amino acids. When excess input is there, liver can catabolize. liver can catabolize. Some of them, liver can use it. Okay, then, so in both the conditions, there is a possibility of protein synthesis because insulin is an anabolic hormone. Okay, so it can carry out the protein, it can help in the synthesis of proteins. But in that condition, whether it is a normal input or excess input, how the protein synthesis is taking place? In the protein synthesis, one crucial step is amino acid synthetase, that is involved activation of transfer RNA, charging of transfer RNA for the protein synthesis. That enzyme Km is low. When the Km is low, then even at low concentration, the enzyme can be active. Okay, insulin has got very crucial role in the muscles for the protein synthesis also. So this is the how in the fed state, the inter-organ coordination is taking place related to the various metabolites, like whether maybe carbohydrates, maybe amino acids, the glucose, amino acids, then from there glycogen, from there triacylglycerol, from the amino acids is protein, how it is taking place. Okay, so this is the how the coordination is taking place in the fed state. Okay, let me now summarize.
In this session of integration of metabolism at organ tissue level, in the fed state, that is post-absorptive state, we have discussed about the interrelationship among various organs. Okay, what are the points which we can highlight? In well-fed state, the first aspect is there is a dietary supply. The major nutrients from there, glucose, proteins, amino acids, and fat. Okay, that is one point. Then, in the hormonal status, in the fed state, insulin by glucagon ratio. So insulin glucagon secreted from the pancreatic tissue, and in the fed state and fasting state. In the fed state, the ratio is increased, whereas in the fasting state, it is decreased as far as hormones are concerned. The third one is the liver is the first organ, first tissue. So to use dietary glucose, glucose not for its own purpose and for modifying it for the modification supplying to other organs. The glucose can be converted to glycogen. Okay, then the glucose can be converted to pyruvate. Pyruvate can be converted to pyruvate or lactate. Okay, or glucose can go to the HMP shunt pathway. Or glucose can be converted to other molecules like lipids. Okay, then dietary protein. Okay, so here split into amino acids, enter portal blood and liver, and there may be synthesis of proteins. Okay, in the fed state. Then the fifth point is dietary fat. The fifth point is what is the fate of dietary fat. Dietary fat in the form of chylomicrons. Okay, chylomicrons from the liver in the form of VLDL. Later they are hydrolyzed, split into glycerol and fatty acids, and transported
transported into adipose tissue, and there they are reconverted to triacylglycerol. That is about the dietary fat. Then finally, many metabolic pathways okay are operational during the fed state in various tissues okay, so but not simultaneously. So finally what I can comment is, in the fed state, liver is lipogenic liver. Okay, the focus is on the storage. Okay, so in the next session we'll discuss about what are the changes and interrelationship among various organs in the early fasting and also in starvation. Thank you very much.